Have you ever put on full kit and moved an entire day? Body armor. Is it overrated, or is it something that you absolutely need? Like, you will lose without it. Let's dig into this. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing your thoughts and your comments down below about plate carriers, body armor, whatever the hell you want to call this crap. Because it's down in that comment section where real experience comes into play, like beyond just a person running his jib jab, right? From my experience, body armor, well, I'll just give it to you straight. 3 deployments, right? And obviously that's the most important place to wear freaking body armor, right? Is when you're in a combat environment. The only time I wore body armor for 2 of those deployments was moving from hooch to work area, or when in a convoy, or when in a helicopter. Only in those scenarios where you're not in a hardened building or not sleeping in the rack. First deployment, wore body armor when we were doing our, well, pretty much the same thing, right? When we weren't sleeping. So I had a few months of mission with Fast Company, and we did 3 8s. So you had 8 hours of duty, and you were full kit. Of course, back then it was flak jackets. And then we had 8 hours QRF, and so you were still full kit in a rack, and then 8 hours of rack time, and that was no kit. So pretty much a similar experience. That the only time that you wore your body armor was if there was an elevated risk of contact, right? If that makes sense, of any kind of contact. In the in-between times, you know, you're sitting in the green zone, you know, going to the Starbucks or whatever, or maybe you hitched a ride down to Kuwait, and you got all kinds of freaking bag nasty stuff going on down there. Like they don't wear anything because that's not a freaking deployment. So how does that relate to SHTF and to things here in the States? Goodness gracious, bud. Hey, Hondo. You love that mud, don't you? How does that relate to a triggering event here in the States? When are you going to wear body armor? What is your thinking about when you are going to wear body armor here in the States? You going to wear it 24/7? Well, before we can even get into when you're going to wear it, where do you keep it? Like, even right now. Where do you keep your body armor if you have any? Do you keep it in a basement? Well, you say that situation dictates your gear, right? That's not what I say. But that's what a lot of people say. So, what happens when Murphy happens? And you need something and you don't have it because it's in your mother's basement? Kind of shit out of luck then, aren't you? So maybe you keep it in your vehicle. I don't know. Vehicles may be a place in time where you want to try to wear this thing, but have you ever worn your body armor while driving your vehicle? How did that work out for you? If you say, well, as I'm working out through conducting a security patrol of my homestead or whatever, I'm gonna kit up. Have you ever put on full kit and moved an entire day? Now imagine doing that for days, weeks, months, years on end. And think about what your calorie intake needs to be able to sustain and support that kind of activity. Probably more than what you have on hand right now. Probably more than what you're eating right now. Sometimes I think we pitch lies, and it may not even be full lies. Like, there's a saying that I've used for a long time, and it's, you're not wrong, right? Does that make sense? Like, so I could ask a Joe a question, and he would give me an answer, and it would either be partially correct, somewhat correct, maybe correct but lacking a lot of details, or whatever the case is, and I tell him, well, you're not wrong. It could be something as mundane as, what's the weather going to be like today? Maybe we're up in Washington. Well, it's going to be cloudy with a chance of meatballs, right? For 9 months of the year, that's pretty much what it is. You know what? You're not wrong. But that's not very detail-oriented. It's not very right. And I think things are similar when it comes to plate carriers and body armor. We get in this mentality because we see the activity on the screen, right? We see the gun tubers. We see the soy boy special forces, special mission unit operator dudes, and they all do this stuff, and they have all this stuff on, and they have not just that, right, but they got the helmets and the night vision and the thermals, and they can communicate to one another. And we think, well, if that's what these dudes are using, that is obviously what I need. And I would dare say that maybe that's not the case. For me, I think if we found ourselves in a stereotypical SHTF environment, the only times that I would wear my kit would be if there was an actual increased risk of enemy activity. So let's say I'm at my house, right? If I'm going from my bedroom to go cook in the kitchen or whatever the case is, like, I'm not gonna put on a body armor just to go do these mundane things. But if I hear some activity outside, I may. Or if there's an increased risk based off of some raiders moving around, and I have somebody who's standing guard, if you will, I may have or submit to them that wearing a kit may be beneficial. If I'm traveling from our house to check on some family members or to resupply, then maybe having a kit handy, it's certainly available in the vehicle, but if it's available in the vehicle, it doesn't do you any good. So having it on you, it can be worthwhile. But again, you know, it's like, you have to really think about the type of, like, if you, I got lost in Compton once, right? I got lost in Compton. I've driven south of I-10. I live south of I-10 in El Paso, Texas, right down in the valley. Been in Juarez many times. Even as tensions increased, I've been in these areas. Some of you probably live in or know people who live in places like Detroit, right? We love to talk about all the dangers of Detroit. We talk about the dangers down in Hotlanta, because every night there's somebody who's getting killed in a gunfight down there. But nobody's running around in any of these areas wearing body armor for good reasons. But when you think, so you think about what's that environment going to be like where I feel like I need to, like, it's beyond Mad Max. Like, if you get out here, you cannot patrol all day. You can't do anything all day. I don't care if it's patrolling, convoy. I mean, convoy ops, at least you have some AC, I hope. But you can't go out, chop wood, check on your livestock, take care of your family, do all of the things with an extra 35 to 55 pounds on you day in and day out. You can't do it. So don't lie to yourself and tell yourself that that's what you're going to do. Because even if you want to believe this, if you're not training for that, then you're deceiving yourself and the truth is not in you, right? It's not enough to be not untrue. It's not enough to be not wrong. We have to be right. We have to take proper stock of ourselves, where we're at in life, what we have. Well, great, you have body armor, and you think it's gonna be needed. Well, does the rest of your family have something? Have they ever had it on, or do they think that you're full of shit? Have you taken precautions to harden? Do you know how to harden your vehicles if it came to something like that? Because this is cool, but it's not. This is not the answer. This is not the answer to the test, and it may not be wrong, but it's not right. Team, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and your comments down below as we all continue to master our craft and develop our tactical virtue. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked. Team, if you want to master your craft and develop your tactical virtue, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so that you can stay up to date with future content. Consider becoming a channel member. It's going to give you exclusive access to content not available to anybody else. I appreciate you guys. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.
We know you're out there! Come to my voice!
It's kind of like this billboard I saw. Hopefully you can see it all right, right? It's got American flag up in the top, blue banner on the bottom. It says, "Fight for America, vote Republican," and there's a fist, right? This is paid for by our county's Republican Party. I saw this thing, I was like, there's no way. Like, I get where somebody was trying to come from, but it's like whoever made this thing is either a sleeper commie, or they have no idea what communist propaganda has been and continues to be. Like, that exact fist being raised dates back to early communist propaganda, right? And then Black Lives Matter took it over. And if that's what, all that crap here and there, it stands in contrast with what the Republican Party says that they want to be about. So again, it's like it's not wrong. That image is not wrong. I get where they were trying to come from, right? Going back to an extremely iconic now photo, but it's not right.